Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I'm a blue dot in our red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate through just these current news stories and this everything going on in the United States right now. So thank you for joining me and welcome. And real quick, I do want to give a special shout out to to all the subscribers. So subscribers and the likes and the comments, I really do appreciate it, especially as I'm growing this channel. So yeah, keep it coming. I really do appreciate it. And I also, if there's an article or a news story that you're interested in me doing a reading, just drop it in the comments and I've got a running tally here. I've got a Google Doc that I just kind of drop all this stuff into. And then as I'm planning like what am I going to read on, I go through and kind of look at and see kind of like what's some more of those like top stories of the moment, which, at this point, it's like spin a wheel. It could be any one of these. So anyway, thank you. And yeah, we'll keep navigating through this together. The focus of today's reading is going to be about the financial and economic health of the United States. And this is part 2. Part 1 was about China and the tariffs. And that's, as of today's recording, and I'm recording this on Wednesday, April 30th, China has kind of come back on some of the tariffs, so I just want to do that update there. But it's still, those tariffs are still full steam ahead. But today, the focus is going to be on, are we headed to a recession? Major economists are all saying, yes, we are. So I want to look at that. Oh no, hold on just one second. Okay, sorry, I had messed up my my Google Doc where I had all of my questions there. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. So anyway, back to economists are saying, yes, we're definitely headed, towards a recession. Trump going back and forth on whether or not he's going to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. That's not helping the situation. He said he was, the markets tanked, and then he, walked that back and said, no, never mind, I'm not going to do that. And then the markets rebounded. So, but that was, it can be different on any given day. So I just kind of want to check in on that. And then, a friend sent me this article, and so I wanted to follow up with a reading on this, and it's about DOGE. DOGE is rummaging around inside the FDIC. So I kind of want to look at that. And supposedly he's there just to cut like 20% of the staff, which is a nightmare anyway. But we see how DOGE operates. They say one thing and maybe that's their cover story is basically what that is. And so Senator Warren, joined by, I've got the article pulled up here, joined by other banking committee senators, sent a letter to the acting chairman of the FDIC requesting additional information by May 8th. And one specific question they wanted answered is whether or not DOGE has access to the FDI insurance fund. Now, this is the fund that protects our investments, okay? This was something that was created after the Great Depression. So, yeah, I want to kind of look at that. And yeah, so just kind of a financial health reading. So what I'll do is I'm going to start with just a base reading. The economic health of the U.S., what's that looking like, and are we headed to a recession? So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, as always, these are for entertainment purposes only. And just a reminder, as I'm shuffling, if you want to go ahead and hit like, that'd be great. If you're a new viewer, subscribe button's right there too. So, base reading. What is the economic health of the U.S. looking like? And let's just do the next, let's just do the next few months. 4 months, 6 months? And actually probably not even that far, just because things change so quickly on with Trump. So, next few months. 3-4 months. Let's do that. Okay. Base reading. What is this looking like in the next 3 to 4 months for the United States and recession? Okay. Planting seeds for the future. This is also a card for planning for the future. And the reason I'm saying planning, for the future is this is kind of like gather your seeds because you're going to need them later. especially with those tariffs and the things that we're hearing. I mean, I was talking to my husband the other day, and our son is 16, and it was like, what are we going to do about Christmas? And it was like, if he was a little guy, we would absolutely be making those plans right now. So, that's just one example of making plans. That's what this card is. It's about making plans. Things coming to an end. It's like, whatever seeds. I'm going to get some more context cards here, but this is like planting seeds for the future, but then boom. It's like, and this could also be, Trump is saying that these tariffs, they're going to bring great prosperity. We just have to wait it out. And this is saying, no, there is no prosperity. The road we are headed on is not going to have the desired outcome. Okay. That is like, you could plan all you want, but that's not gonna, and these cards, these are very similar cards. I mean, if you look at people left out in the cold, the despair, the lack, and then this is just, like, we've had enough. Okay. So these are not pleasant cards. I will keep going. People rising up. Yeah. There's only so much that people are going to be able to take. And the foundation of this is that the people rise up. Okay. The heart of this is these tariffs were going to, oh yeah, they're going to make us, make America great again. And it is not. In fact, the 10s are a completion of a cycle. Okay. That this just 10s overall just mean completion of a cycle. This 10 specifically is pretty self-explanatory. Something comes to a crashing halt, a crashing end. Now, swords can also mean court cases. So right now, I was looking at, the tariffs in general, and I've already done a tariffs reading, but that, and I got that the courts, what I was getting is that there's something that suddenly stops this. It's like there's, the courts step in, things are filed, those blue states that, some of them have filed, but then there's something that kind of like derails all of that because something else, drastic makes it all come to a stop. So this is telling me that these tariffs and our, the economy, because the tariffs and our economy are hand in hand right now, that it's not doing what they want it to do. We are absolutely going to be feeling this. The prices are going to be, we're going to have higher prices and people rising up. Okay. This is the big thing that I keep getting. It's like the Tower card and the Judgment card almost go like hand in hand. And usually I get some version of, like the Ten of Swords, the Devil, something coming to an end. And it's after the people rise up. Coming together. I mean, this card, the Four of Wands, is one of literally like happy home. You've got, the four corners here, holding up the marriage canopy. And some decks, there's the happy couple right here. So this is like coming together in a time of celebration. This was what's coming up in the past. Like this is the past position. So something coming in. Like did MAGA actually think this was going to be a good idea? It's like, no, it is not. And as it relates to the economy, this could be also people coming together. We're coming together. We're uprising. We're tired of this. We are not going to let, this ship of fools take us down, take us down this road of, financial destruction. So, and finally, the big bully club, the big wand, big ideas, big messaging. So this is like, I'm curious about these cards because these I'm going to see more as, the actions and the messaging, not necessarily the courts or Congress. So I'm curious about like, what's this Ace of Wands as it relates to this recession? And it could just be the message of the people is we're pissed. We have had enough. There's only so much the people can take. And empty shelves and higher prices is not going to be something that we are real good with. Okay, so this Ace of Wands, I just kind of want to do a little bit more on that ace. Shedding the light onto something. This could be the Democrats also. And the reason I'm saying Democrats is because right now, they're in a position of power, but they're not in the highest position of power. So you've definitely got, and I get this Queen of Wands a lot. When it comes to courts, and it's on the DOJ side, this is Pam Bondi, the spokesperson, but I'm not seeing this right here. This is about the recession. So, I mean, this could even be Elizabeth Warren, just because, she, is that financial, she talks a lot about finances. That's kind of, her specialty there. So, big messaging about this. How are we going to turn this around? What are we going to do? Listening to the people, returning to happier times, and the Democrats. This is going to be Democrats. And I'm kind of wondering, who are they coming together with? This could also be some of those moderate Republicans. Those Republicans in swing districts that know that they are not in a safe seat. They could be joining with, because they would be considered, in the minority. So you get two minority in position. They're not in position. They're in positions of power, but not the highest power. So you get both of them together can come together and be that majority. And I'm kind of wondering, is that what this is? The people rise up, they've had enough, and that is finally what the moderate Republicans need to, join with the Democrats to put a stop to this. Okay, so let me just do, financially the next few months. I mean, that's great that Congress could possibly, do this, but I want to know, the rest of us, if this doesn't happen, just that, recession possibility. Trump is, this is the fox is loose in the hen house. This is a card of, lies, not telling the truth, smash and grab, what can we take? And that's definitely where the Trump administration is we got to make all of our buddies wealthy here. In the dark of night, finding that path, and for the rest of us, and then moving, in a new direction. These cards right here, what I really notice here is the Hermit and the Seven of Swords. They're looking this direction. They're looking in how can we have more destruction? How can we do things even more under the dark of night? But this card is a new, this is a totally new direction. This is we're not even looking at this. And I was asking about the average person, average American. What do we need to expect? And if anything, I'm almost seeing three different things here, or possibly even four different things. They're still going to do, Trump administration is still going to do their smash and grab. That's there. You get that Congress could, the moderate Republicans and the Democrats come together, a lot of messaging, and this could be messaging that furthers action, for them to bring this to a stop. And for the initial base reading was, are we headed to a recession? These cards are going to be a resounding yes. Okay. Planning for the future. And I'm going to, I'm a Virgo. I plan for the worst, but hope for the best. So a lot of times people will say, Virgos are so pessimistic. And it's no, we're not. We're very hopeful people. We just have a very practical approach to, to life. So when I say plan for the future, if there is, that is just practical advice. We've been watching, what should we prepare for? What should we stock up on? What should we make sure that we have enough of to weather us, through these uncertain times? So, I'm not saying, no, don't go out panic buying or hoarding, actually look at the things that, you actually use. One of the things was over-the-counter medications. We just all went through, a round of colds, upper respiratory infections, and now we've got allergies. We're going through the cold medicine. So I'm making sure that stays in stock. That kind of thing. The things that you're actually using, go through and be that last little bit of something, throw that out and get a new bag. That's what I'm talking about. Just that practical approach. And then you have, it's going to get tough. I want to empower people. I don't want to discourage people. So that's why I'm saying make the plans now. Okay. There's your bit of hope right there. There's your, empowerment right with what I'm seeing here. Make those plans the very best that you can, because we're going to see empty shelves. Okay. Things are going to get tough. And This is a card of it comes to an end because the people have had enough. Okay, that is the heart of this reading. So, yeah, I don't know that we're going to go into a full-blown recession, because I really do think it's going to be stopped before we get there. Because you get, they're not going to stop. The Trump administration is not going to stop. It's going to be outside influences that brings this to a stop. And this is what I'm reading as, it's almost like two minority parties, which you'd have Democrats and the, moderate Republicans come together, a return to happier times. Okay. And this card here, moving in this new direction. So, yeah, make plans. It looks like, make plans for us going into a recession, just in case this right here, doesn't happen. If it depends on how bad is it going to get before those moderate Republicans actually, start stepping up. Okay. So that's kind of what I've got there as far as the recession goes. Let's see. Okay. Powell. Is he going to be fired? Trump keeps saying, he's gone back and forth, but I just kind of want to do a quick, is he going to, I want to back that up. Is he going to get pressured into lowering the interest rates early? That's kind of what I want to know, because Trump has been pressuring him to lower those interest rates, which the economists are saying would be a disaster. So I don't know that Powell doesn't seem like a person that's going to be pressured, but I just kind of want to do a quick check-in on, what's going on with the Federal Reserve. Is he going to lower interest rates? Is he going to be fired? And this is just for the next few months. Okay. And looking at Powell. Page of Pentacles, pages, messengers, pentacles, money, and finances, okay? This is also, I'm noticing the red hat, so we're going to see, is this a MAGA message? MAGA wants, they don't understand economy, anyway, what they want should be irrelevant, because let's listen to the experts, okay? And the page is not going to be someone who's an expert, okay? This is going to be someone who's like a spokesperson, a messenger. And wait. Okay, so the message about the money that's coming out is we're going to wait. So I don't see that with just these first two cards. I don't think that, this is, we're going to do what's best for the country, not what's best for Trump. This is a card of tens. Remember I said they were, these are the completion. Okay, this is, we've arrived at happiness. A lot of times, the cups are those emotions. So right now, yes, it's very stressful right now. But, Powell is going to keep the financial train on the tracks and under control the very best that he can. Okay. There's only so much he can do. But this is like, we're going to try to steady this ship the best that we can. Coming together once again, the messaging, I'm feeling this like the partnership, the agreements. He might, I was going to say he might be able to talk sense into Trump. And then I was like, nope, take those words back. This is going to be, he's talking with other people. Like, this is what, his message is going to be very well received by the experts who are saying, yes, he's doing what he needs to do. He's doing the right thing. That's the feeling I'm getting from this card. He has support from the experts in the decisions that he's making. Okay. And Ace of Swords, big sword here, big action. So I wonder if that's going to be, what's the sword of truth comes down. Is that going to be, because this could be like he does get fired. Nothing here is what I'm indicating that, he is. This is telling me almost like if he does lower rates, it's going to be on his timing, not on Trump's timing. It's going to be when it's right for our country. That's what this is. Let me come back here to the middle. Yeah, the message is we're going to wait, listening to experts, doing what's right for our country, and then he'll lower interest rates. So I'm not seeing that anytime soon. Is Trump going to, I'm just going to do 3 cards. Is Trump going to fire him? technically he can't, but technically he can't do all the things that he's also doing right now. That's flies in the face of our Constitution. So, is he going to attempt to fire Powell in whatever way he thinks he can? Okay, and firing Powell, he's thinking about it. I mean, I think he thinks about who can I fire today all the time. So, but looking at it's almost like I get the feeling that Trump has been placated to a point in that, like, they've distracted him. Like, let's look at something else. Come over here to this other bright, shiny object. And he does have his hands full with China right now, and Ukraine, and Russia, and just and all the court cases. So I think that they've been able to temporarily distract his attention elsewhere. But it's not going to be for long. It's not going to be for long. Expect him to, circle back around to this. People uprise. That is just, okay, so let me pull this up here real quick. Okay, so for those of you that have been, camera's all wonky and weird. Okay, for those of you that have been watching readings, for a while now, I am consistently getting this judgment card. Consistently. This is the people uprising card. Okay. And those protests are growing. We're seeing them grow. And all of this, now I'm talking about peaceful protesting. Okay. That's what I'm talking about here. Peaceful protesting. What I'm seeing with like all of this is the protests are kind of like the catalyst, it's like this dominoes effect. The protesters and that growing movement and those poll numbers that are dropping is giving the Congress kind of like the spine that they need to do their job. So especially if you have moderate Republicans that did not win, by a 30 point margin, if you be calling those offices, 5 calls is a great website to use. 5 calls, just the number 5, CALLS.org, because I keep consistently getting that it's the energy and the frustration and the anger of the constituents that are motivating the Congress to do something about this. So I just kind of want to put that out there, that I'm consistently getting that. So, whether it's this, whether it's the economy, the tariffs, the entitlement, I hate calling them entitlements. We worked for that, but Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all of that, the food stamps, the preschool, pre-K, all of that, Head Start, that's the word I was looking for, all of that. It's all of that is that momentum that's going forward. So with a recession, yes, I think that I'm going to agree with the economists. The cards say that the economists do know what they're talking about. I joke, and I say that in jest, but seriously, the economists are right. That is exactly where we're headed. Now, how far down that road are we going to go? When is Congress going to get a spine? It's like that, it should have already happened. So what I will say, keep calling, keep protesting, peaceful protesting. And that really seems to be what really kind of is that foundation of change. Okay. So I just kind of want to put that out there, that I'm consistently getting that in like across the board, every reading. So I have one more question to ask. So with Powell, Trump's going to cycle back around to wanting to fire him again, especially whenever he doesn't cut rates whenever he wants them to and all that stuff. So more of that. And then finally, I want to look at the FDIC. DOGE is rummaging around in the FDIC and with the pretext of we're just going to cut 20% of the personnel, which is devastating enough. So what exactly are they doing in there? And with special attention to the FDIC insurance fund, are they going to be trying to do that? So DOGE and the FDIC, just kind of a base reading on that. And with that, a lot of disappointment, a lot of betrayal. Let's see what else. Things happening, behind the scenes. With these first 2 cards, I am going to say they are doing more than just trying to figure out 20% of the personnel to cut. Okay. Knight of Wands, but they are being more reserved in what they're doing, they're being better at hiding it. It's like I get this with this, I'm actually getting the feeling like they're either being better at hiding it or they're actually being careful, because you cannot have a run on the banks. Like, I'm feeling like that's actually something they want to avoid. Okay, so there is, let me just see here. Yeah, whatever it is they want, they know they can do this. I'm not seeing anything panic here. I'm not seeing, putting something to an end. And Mad King Don. So let me, okay, with these cards, none of these are chaos cards. Now, this is betrayal. What that destruction, that path of destruction they've had in the past has been huge betrayal. And this is why everybody's on edge, seeing that now, okay, they're in there. Is our money safe in the banks? That is going to be everybody's concern. And I'm going to ask that specifically here in just a minute. And so they're doing things under the dark of night. They're doing things like it's hidden. This card is telling me this is why I think they're actually being more careful. They don't want the banks to fail. They don't want that panic. They don't want that run on the banks. Okay. And then because I think that they realize that would be the end of Trump, that would be the end of Trump. Okay. So if that's what it would take, I'm just joking. Oh yeah, well, I'm thinking, so this is telling me they're actually being careful right here. Or at least the appearance. They're going to have the appearance of being careful. I'm just going to ask, is our money safe in the banks? Because, I know that's the question I have. Is our money safe? From DOGE. Okay. Now, before I put these out, I want to reiterate, this is for entertainment purposes only. You need to do what you feel is right. Do not take financial advice from a tarot reader. I don't care who the tarot reader is. I will be the first one to say, do not take advice from a tarot reader. Do what you feel is best. Okay? Just want to make that perfectly clear. Is our money safe in the banks? 2. So 2 of Wands, this is just coming together, looking at a situation. And that's what we're doing here. We're looking at the situation. The Justice card. I really don't think that, it's like the courts would step in if anything happened. And I think that this really could be. Lawyers are very closely watching this to make sure that they don't do anything, that they don't mess with that fund. And yeah, this is the Magician. The Magician is one of, in its higher energy, this is you're starting out on your journey. This is the card right after the Fool card of a new journey, taking what you need. And it's like you have everything that you need here at your disposal. Okay, so this is one of resources. This is one of utilizing the resources that you have. Okay, so this is telling me that our resources, are going to be fine. Like your money is going to be fine, in the bank. Once again, follow your own intuition and feelings about this. Okay. So, would it be a bad idea to have, cash on hand? That's probably never a bad idea. But I'm not seeing anything here that says, there needs to be a run on the banks. Okay. So let's just, please let me be right about this. Sometimes I do readings and I'm like, oh, please let me be wrong. But this one, please let me be right. I'm curious. I do want to come back to this right here. The end of Trump. Is that, I just want some clarifying cards on that. As we look at this, and this was about the FDIC, that they're actually being careful. I think that, Trump is I just kind of want to see here more about this. This end of Trump. What does that look like? This is an offering, something of, of substance, something of value being offered, new beginnings, a passionate agreement, and working towards things for the future. I'm looking at this and I'm not I mean, I'm really getting like they understand the need for the banks to stay stable. Like that's one thing that like everybody's in agreement about across the board. So I'm getting with these cards, there's let me just kind of pull these back and come back here to the worst cards that I got as far as DOGE in FDIC is the betrayal, and it's like I almost get with this is like because we've seen what they've done. We've seen the betrayal before, and we're really uncertain. Like, what are they doing over there? You have, I think lawyers are absolutely watching this situation. Trying to see, I got some cards mixed up here. Lawyers are watching this situation, making sure. I think that 2 of 1's going over here. Watching this situation to make sure that it doesn't go awry. Like they're ready to file court cases if need be. But yeah, Trump, I think, has told them, you do not mess with that fund. And I'm getting, with all of this, that money is safe, don't mess with the banks. Okay. Now, if they, cut 20% of the personnel, what will that cause chaos? I mean, all the courts have been, there's been new court cases, even coming out now that, people have been fired that shouldn't have been fired. They have to be rehired, brought back. I mean, so I really think that the courts and the FDIC is going to be fine, or the banks and the FDIC, that is showing there was no destruction coming up with that. So, fingers crossed that stays like that. So, and it's kind of like this general consensus feeling, even with MAGA, don't fuck with the banks. We do not, that's the last thing we need. So, to wrap up, the financial health of the United States right now is, yes, of course, the economists who know so much more about the economy than, a tarot reader, is saying, yeah, we're on the road to recession. I got here that, yes, we're on that path. Make plans because, there is a possibility that this is stop. At any point, this can stop. I don't know exactly what that final thing is because what I can say is whatever it is, the people are pissed, Congress is pissed, and so are the courts. It's like across the board. I mean, and to the point where it comes to an end. Okay. So make plans for the future, do the best you can, hang in there. As long as I keep saying, as long as there's news and we have the First Amendment, I will be here doing those readings. Just kind of offering some, let's pull the curtain back. Let's look at the energy around, whatever that situation is, what practical, plans can we make to help prepare for this? How can we be empowered in making those choices that we need to make, as we go forward? So yeah, do the best you can and know that we will get through this, and hang in there. So thank you for joining me, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a great day.